What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. And we are, we've been talking about a lot of Disney umbrella things recently. We've had some Andor chats. We talked Eyes of Wakanda. We, of course, had Fantastic Four, which I'm finally going to see a second time tonight. Oh, I've seen it. Don't worry, everybody. I've seen it. But I second viewing, I'm finally getting to go see it. And I'm thrilled. But first, we're going to talk about another movie under the Disney umbrella, and that is Freakier Friday, a sequel to the 2000s remake. I always keep referring to it as an original, but I guess it wasn't an original because the movie happened once before that. And so the sequel of the remake, and I'm excited to chat about it with many of my good friends. My name is TJ Zwarych, and joining me today for the first time in a while. We haven't seen her in a while. She used to be here every day, and now we don't see her quite so often. It's Rachel Leishman. How you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing great. How are you, TJ?
Doing well. Happy to see you again. Happy to chat about this fun, silly movie with our panel of wonderful friends.
Me too.
Joining us as well, we just saw them last week for some Eyes of Wakanda, and they're back once again. Summer Lake Hornet, Aaron Perine. How you doing, Aaron?
Great, TJ. It's great to see your voice. I feel like I'm back at Comic-Con for like 2 seconds because a lot of our panel is like in this room right now. I feel the spirit of the 2000s in this Applebee's. I can't wait.
That's what I was sitting there with, not sitting there, but I was chatting with you and our other guest joining us today. And I thought, like, hey, I don't have my typical, like, regular co-host on with me. But you know who also is friends with these wonderful people? It's Rachel Leishman. And so I thought it was a great addition, last minute, but a wonderful addition nonetheless to our Freakier Friday panel today. And of course, the person who launched the idea, I don't know if she knows this, but launched the idea for me to do a Freakier Friday podcast because I was listening to the Phase Hero podcast and I hadn't seen the movie yet. And I heard how much she loved the movie. And I thought, hey, I know where she could talk about it right here on the Agents of Fandom. Jamie Jirak, how are you? How are you doing?
Hello. I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. I want to just before we even start, I really want to drop some Freaky Friday knowledge, which is there are more versions than you think. There's the 70s version with Jodie Foster. There's this 2003 version, of course, that we all know and love. But there was a 90s version with, I believe, Shelley Long and Gabby Hoffman, which I've never seen, but actually sounds amazing. And then they did one in 2018. There's another one that I don't think anyone watched. So this book has really gotten Disney far. But I think we can all agree that 2003 is the definitive version of Freaky Friday. I'm sorry to Jodie Foster, but I don't even know any boomers or Gen Xers who were like, that was my Freaky Friday. I don't care.
Lindsay Lohan, very famous now for making a remake of a movie and having it become the definitive version, I think, as kind of her thing going forward. And
Kirby fully loaded.
I was thinking Parent Trap, but good point. Really good point. Before we start talking about Freaky Friday, I want to know from all three of you what you watching. Jamie, I was just listening to Phase Hero the other day, and I remember you came off just a 5-movie day the other day. So I want to know, of all these great movies you've been watching, which ones have been standing out?
Oh, that's such a good question. Because right now, I'm going to tell you, I was prepared to answer with Arcane because I binged all the first season yesterday and I'm deeply obsessed with it. But a movie that I watched really recently that I want to shout out is a movie called Outrageous from 1977. It is a movie about a hairdresser. He wants to be a drag queen. He's a gay man. He's aspiring to be a drag queen. And his best friend gets out of a mental institution and she comes to live with him. And it sounds really dark and sad, but it's actually quite lovely. And it's a really great slice of life movie, and it stars Craig Russell, who was a dynamite drag queen. All the impressions that she does in this movie are just so crazy, and it's wild. This should be a bigger movie in the queer zeitgeist. I'm surprised that I'd only just heard of it because it has the 70s feel, but it's also pre-AIDS. So there is kind of a hopefulness that apparently there's a sequel that was made 10 years later that is a little darker because of the era it was made in. So I want to shout that out. It's called Outrageous from 1977. I had to rent it from my local video store, so I don't know how easy it is to find, but if you can find it, check it out.
Honestly, exciting that you have a local video.
I was just going to say,
yeah. LA.
Sentence in 2025.
Yeah, LA options. We have a couple actually. Shout out to Videotech in Pasadena. That's where we go.
They're so often here, like the best places for like not for rentals, but even just buying physical media are like record stores, or places that brand themselves as record stores, and then they got their records, their DVDs, their CDs, their Funko Pops, and things like that. But that has been my go-to spot anytime I'm looking for a specific thing that I want to buy that's physical media lately. I'm just going straight to the record stores because those are like the only places I can actually find physical media these days. But I did just today pre-order my Superman Blu-ray, and I am not happy to say that I did it on Amazon. I used to use Amazon a lot. I very rarely do it anymore. But in terms of getting a movie as quick as possible, that's one of those ones that I needed to prioritize.
It sucks. I just want to say, because the Best Buy doesn't sell them anymore. We're like, what are we boycotting harder, Amazon or Target? Like, we have to make a choice because those who sell new DVDs. It's quite frustrating. There aren't a lot of ethically sourced DVD places anymore. It's a bummer.
So if you randomly do have a local video store, go to it and support it so that we can get more of them. Rachel, what you been watching?
Well, just to make a comment on the video thing, every time I go into a physical media store, I try and find Wild at Heart because that is surprisingly hard to find here. And I have not, I'm sure Jamie has it. She's already looking, but it's hard to find in New York. I've been trying and I can't find it. I bought like 4 other Nick Cage movies in the span of trying to find Wild and Heart.
eBay, baby girl. eBay has it all. Check eBay. That's where I get so many movies on eBay.
But what I'm watching is kind of predictable. I have been, when I got stranded in California for an extra day when I wanted to be in my bed, I decided I was going to start Scream Queens again from the beginning. So I was watching Glenn Powell and his gay best friend who share a bed, Nick Jonas, just existing on that show. We don't support Ryan Murphy's wrongs in my home, but I do love Ryan Murphy shows. And so unfortunately I will watch all of them, which includes rewatching Scream Queens. And I watch all of the Housewives as my wind down. I just put on the Real Housewives, and I've been going through Atlanta. I'm currently in season 15, which is the season before the current season. And the sad part is I got there within 3 or 4 months. So I watched 14 episodes of television in 3 or 4 months because I just sat there and let it play. But yeah, Scream Queens and the Real Housewives of Atlanta is my answer.
I was just about to get into, talking about a show I've been watching. Then I realized I am not allowed to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. That's one of them or 2 of them. Well, the one I can talk about, I'm watching Alien Earth, but the other one I can't talk about. So I was like, here's the other ones.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it until right this second. So I'm happy that I bit my tongue in time. But I did want to tell a funny story that I told Aaron when we were talking about Eyes of Wakanda, because one of the shows that we just watched in my household was Poker Face season 2. And it had been a long time since I had seen the first season. And so I forgot what it was. And so I fully was mentally preparing to go into Poker Face season 2, thinking I was watching Russian Dolls, which is, of course, another totally different Natasha Lyonne show, but it's a bit of a mind fuck, right? And so I was really trying to mentally prepare to get into this reliving the same day, focus on the details type show. And then I remembered, we were watching the recap. I didn't remember. We were watching the recap and I was like, what? Wait a minute. Oh, I forgot this show even existed. I like this one even better. I can't wait to watch season 2. And so we binged through Poker Face season 2. Really, really enjoyed it. Can't wait to get to a 3rd season. Aaron, what you been watching?
Oh, it's been a land of contrasts here. Yesterday, I got to see Fixed, which I think, Rachel, you've seen, right?
Yeah.
Jenny Tartakovsky doing adult animation. Netflix gave us this wonderful bottle opener that's very funny and very explicit, which I hope this doesn't get the video demonetized. That's a hoot. As someone who watched a lot of Gindie's work over Cartoon Network and Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack and Primal and stuff like that. And then on the complete other side of the spectrum, Solo Traveling with Tracy Ellis Ross. I've been doing that for free space for my podcast and social, and it's just very chill. It is what would you call it? Like melatonin, like visually. It's so therapeutic, and like she's really relatable. And they just announced season 2, so that's been fun. That's over on Roku channel for free. And we've been doing that. Like, I was like, this is mad relatable. I was not expecting it to be that. And I guess, oh yeah, and Damascus over on Tubi. It was like a show that was supposed to be on AMC, and then due to streaming whatever got yeeted into the void, and then Tubi was like, a fully formed show with freaking Martin Lawrence sci-fi comedy. We'll put that on the platform. So I've been watching that too.
The other thing that I was way behind on, because I kind of forgot that it had existed, because I like to wait for dubbed versions. I'm not like a subbed versions for most anime, and I had completely forgot that Dragon Ball Daima existed. And so now I've been binging my way through that, and it's different. It's not my favorite Dragon Ball story, but I love basically any Dragon Ball story, so I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Getting to see some really cool Super Saiyan versions that hadn't existed in the main canon before, and so that was really fun to get to catch up on. Carlos in chat says he's ready for Natasha Lyonne's Secret Wars to begin. Bring on Russian Face or Poker Doll. Rachel, what's up?
I did forget one thing, which I think Jamie will love. I got to see my favorite movie on the big screen for the first time last night, and I think everyone should always try and see their favorite movies on the big screen whenever they're showing, because seeing American Psycho on like a big screen and not just like my television, whole different experience. It was like with those like silent disco headphones, because we were on a rooftop and I had to take them off during the chainsaw part, because I was like, oh, this is so much worse than on my couch where it's just like it was beautiful. And everyone should go and see their favorite movies in a movie theater if they can.
I got to see Grease in 1998 when they re-released it for its 20th anniversary, and it was a very special moment. And now I'm like, we're 3 years away from the 50th, which makes me feel old as fuck, you guys.
We weren't even alive when Grease originally came out, but I still feel old knowing.
Really old. Yeah, exactly.
I see hurtful posts like that all the time, where it's like people who were 25 in 2000 are 50 now, and it's like, why would you do that? Why would you say that to me? That's why you got to stick on the following tab on social media and ignoring the for you stuff, because the for you stuff, that's the stuff that'll make your mental health extra worse. That's the stuff that brings it down even more than regular social media. But time to talk some Freakier Friday. The reason we are all here, it is time for the silly, goofy comedy to be back in theaters and hopefully doing well with The Naked Gun and Freakier Friday. Both two very different types of comedic movies, but two very funny movies nonetheless in theaters right now. Jamie, I will throw it to you first. Spoiler-free, kind of just like reaction thoughts. What did you think of this movie?
I loved it so much. I've seen it twice now. I want to go again. I really genuinely think it's my favorite movie of 2025. It's not the best movie. Like, obviously it's not better than Sinners, but like the joy that this movie made me feel both, like I laughed, I cried both times. When Aaron and I walked out of the premiere, like it was also a really fun premiere, and that's why I wanted to see it again to make sure I didn't have like premiered cloud glasses on. Just like I've never been so happy in my life. And then I took my best friend Jake, because I knew he would love it. And he was the same way. He walked out of it like, I can't believe how perfect that was. I can't imagine how they could have made a sequel to this movie better than this. I truly can't picture what they could have done better. I'm obsessed with it.
Aaron, how about you? You were part of the same viewing experience. What'd you think?
Well, I mean, this is so interesting because, like, this thing is, like, from what I understand, like, tailor-made for Freaky Friday, like, core fans that like love it and respect the movie as like a sacred text from 2000s. And I have seen it, but I'm not Jamie, and I loved it. I think it's my third favorite movie of the year, like for sure. And I was flabbergasted at like, why is this so affecting? Like, I am really, really happy and content with this whole goofy little movie. I don't know, like Jamie said, everybody always stresses out about why do you take so long to make sequels? If all of them could be like this, you could take as long as you want. You could take as long as you need. Because I don't know, like Jamie said, I don't know how this could have been any better than what it actually is. Like, it was really like stunning to be like, wow, I did not expect like a ton, and here we are. And I'm taking my mom when I go back to Ohio for sure. And that is like a strong indication. My mom's like, really? Like, I asked Ariel, do you want to go? And my wife, she's like, you really? And she's like, what? Like, what? And I know I'm gonna get her. I know it's gonna get her.
Ari's gonna love it. Come on.
That's what I'm saying. She was sitting there like, I don't know. And I'm like, trust.
Here, crop this video. We crop this video of me and Jamie saying Ari's gonna love it, and just show her that and be like, they want you to go see.
Okay, there we go. I'm gonna go in there. Somebody on Twitch grab it for me, or I'll go in after we're done.
Rachel, how about you? What did you think of this movie?
I liked it a lot. I was surprised I cried. Like, I love the original Freaky Friday, and by original I mean 2003, as we established before. But it's like, I didn't expect to cry, and it was like over little things. Like, we'll get into it, but it was like over things that I never thought would like emotionally hit me in the way that this did. And so I liked it a lot. Like, I don't think it's in my top 3. I do think it's in my top 10. Like, it is genuinely a good movie. And the better way of describing how I feel about it is I would put it up there with like Top Gun Maverick in the, as Aaron said, waiting however many years for a sequel and then having it be a really good movie and not just a cash grab with a title. And so I would put it up there with like Top Gun Maverick of like sequels that we waited decades for, but hey, they're fun and they're good.
As we dive into semi-spoiler territory and start talking about the plot of it a little bit, that was kind of, I agree with you, Rachel. I think it'd be in my top 10. Not quite in my top 5, but in my top 10. My top 5 is dominated by superhero movies. Like, it's number 1 Sinners, then Fantastic Four, then Superman, then Thunderbolt. So like that part's kind of walked in. But having said that, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I kind of going into what Aaron said, like I watched the original. Like I'm not gonna correct myself anymore. It's the original. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I rewatched it before the movie, and it made me like. I love when you rewatch a movie that you haven't seen in years and years and years, and then you realize like, oh, I've been referencing part of this movie my whole life. Like that was just a core aspect of my personality, and it came from this. I totally had forgotten about that. And so I really enjoyed revisiting Freaky Friday 2003 and then going to see this one. I had low expectations and they blew them out of the water. And I love when a movie does that. Like, it sucks when you go into a movie and it's tough to control your expectations where you're hoping it's going to be the best thing ever. And it's good, but it almost still leaves you with a sour taste because it was like, I was hoping this would be everything and it's just good. This one, I was thinking, like, I think I'm just going to have a nice, fun time. And I left, like, I can't remember who brought it up. Was that Rachel? Like, I didn't expect to have some tears in this movie. And I didn't expect it to hit me in the feels like it did. The one aspect that I thought was lacking of, like, if you think too much about it, like the plot is just falling apart left, right, and center, and there's not a whole lot of story to this movie other than we're gonna do the exact same thing with fewer intricacies.
But they don't do the exact same thing. They don't. That's what's good, because they don't do they do something so different. Like that's what I like about it is it's not the same thing again. It's it's a whole new adventure.
And I just thought that the new adventure was a little, okay, everybody just needs to know that they're loved by everybody around them and we're all going to become best friends. But I don't think that took away from the movie for me. I don't really feel like I was so invested in these great acting performances and laughing at the funny jokes that I kind of felt like I don't really know why Jamie Lee Curtis needed to switch with her grand stepdaughter-in-law, but I had a absolutely great time watching them do it. Jamie, I think you feel differently about the story. Tell me what specifically about the plot worked for you.
Well, I think the idea of new, like in the first one, it's just a mother and daughter have to understand each other, and they could have easily done that again, but it wasn't really about that. Like I think that Anna and Harper, especially Harper, is learning about her mom, absolutely, but they weren't butting heads in the way that Anna and Tess did in the original. It's about this new marriage thing, and what's interesting is, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis was getting married in the 2003 version, but like that wasn't what bothered Anna. Like she wasn't trying to break up that wedding. So like there are all these pieces that are similar but so different. And I think what I loved about it is, like, I talk about this a lot, but I have had 5 step parents and a lot of various step siblings throughout my life. And I really love when like a blended family like that is portrayed in like a really sweet way, like in a way that's real, but then also like really happy bow time tied all together. Like Ryan in the first one is such a gem, and I think that Manny in this one is such a gem. And my current stepdad Lee, shout out Lee, fire chief, is the sweetest man I've ever known. And whenever I see like Bobby Cannavale in the Ant-Man movies, I'm like, oh, he's just like Lee. He's just a sweet stepdad, and it just makes me really happy.
Ryan is so sweet.
Carmen.
Ryan is so incredibly sweet that I saw a review of. I was like looking into some stuff before I watched Freakier Friday, and I saw someone reviewing the original, and I apologize that I can't credit it off the top of my head. I don't remember what site I was reading this review from, but the person was saying that like that rewatching the original, I don't feel like Ryan is attractive enough for Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and I don't think Chad Michael Murray is as hot as we all remember him to be. And I'm thinking, are we watching the same movie?
Did Jake write that review?
Did you?
About Mark Harmon? Was Jake like, Ryan isn't good enough for Tess?
Dare you say that about Mark Harmon? That is like Chad Michael Murray. That's just crazy. But like,
quick Mark Harmon story. There's a place. It's gone now. There was a place called the Greens in Santa Clarita. And so I wasn't old enough when we lived there to go, but my brother and like all his friends and my dad could go because you could mini golf and drink. And they went. And for some reason, one time the cast of NCIS was just like at the Greens, and they just befriended Mark Harmon, and they all came back to be like, we were hanging out with the guy from NCIS, blah, 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 blah. And my dumbass was started talking about Freaky Friday, and no one listened to me. Now no one wants to talk about his character on NCIS anymore. They all want to talk about Freaky Friday.
I do have a story about watching this with Aaron, with seeing Chad Michael Murray for the first time, which is we saw this. So at the El Cap, the Disney theater in LA is like, you can sit really high up. It's kind of like a Broadway theater. Mm-hmm. And this happens to me whenever I sit mezzanine in a Broadway theater. If I look up, I get vertigo. Sometimes I forget and I look up and I'm just afraid of heights. I get vertigo. And when Chad Michael Murray showed up on screen, I did one of these. Oh, and I got vertigo. But Aaron didn't know that. Aaron thought that like Chad Michael Murray made me faint. Basically, Aaron thought that like I couldn't. But you know me, I'm not going to talk in a theater, so I'm not going to explain myself. So Aaron spent the whole movie thinking that Chad Michael Murray like made me swoon to the point of nearly passing out. So now, whenever I get vertigo, we call it getting the Chad Michael Murrays.
That is so awesome. I like my wife always talks about when we're watching movies together. Not always talks about this, but like it's a movie that was important to her childhood and the kind of Will Turner of it all. Do I want to be with you or do I want to be you? I can't tell which one it is. And for me, there was no character in all of media that I grew up wanting to be more than Lucas Scott. Lucas Scott was like the person I thought was so cool. When I was 10 years old, 12 years old, whenever I'm watching One Tree Hill for the first time as my older sisters have it on, and I'm watching this show thinking like, all the girls love him. He's so good at basketball. I'm so good at basketball. This is the guy that I want to be. And now I rewatch the show as an adult, and it's a little bit different. And I'm going, why does he have that thick armband on his right hand? And like, you know, I really thought his shooting form looked a little bit better when I was a little kid. But still, Lucas Scott was that for me. And so I do love me some Chad Michael Murray. But bringing it back to Freakier Friday, Aaron, did you think the story worked for you? What did you think of it compared to the original?
I just, oh my God, I have so many questions for off camera. In respect to Freakier Friday, when this got announced, I remember when, like, because Jamie and me, when we worked at the old site, there was a lot of will they, won't they make this thing? Like every time someone got Jamie Lee Curtis or Lindsay Lohan in a junket, they would ask about when are y'all gonna make Freakier Friday 2? And I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis put on her hard hat and was like, we're going to get this thing made. I just watched the Hocus Pocus girlies magic this out of nothing. We're going to do the exact same thing. So I was like, well, that's cool, but like, will it be good though? Because you have reason to be concerned. Like it took what, 20 years almost or more to crack this story, or whatever it was going to be. The conceit of multiplying it, very, very good. Very, very good. Using younger actresses. I wrote something for Slash Film I want to say last week, where I talked about the genius of casting my girl from Never Have I Ever as a main part of this. Mm-hmm. Because if there was ever anything that was like spiritually kind of what this movie was for a millennial audience, it's probably that for Zoomers. So it was operating at like full octane from the word go. There's the cameos, like I think I said this to Jamie, where like Mark Harmon is like America's granddad, so duh, we're bringing it back. No, the Chad Michael Murray being like a freaking, what is it, Silver Lake dad, perfect. No notes. Like, yes, that's probably what would happen. Rachel is disgusted up above me.
I am not a Chad Michael Murray girl. I never have been. And so it's this whole, I'm like, it could not be me. Manny Jacinto, though, I was like,
and
100%.
him. I was like, this is a movie that understands what the audience really, really likes and really enjoys. I'm obsessed with some of the choices. So if it worked on someone like me who does not have like instantaneous knowledge of the first one, and all the gags land for the most part all the way through too. Like I was surprised because, you know, me and Jamie, we go to a lot of screenings where things are for a family audience or a younger audience, and not every bit lands. Everything cannot be way over there Smurf.
I love Way Over.
Yes!
Way Over There Smurf is my favorite joke in Smurfs. It's the only good joke in Smurfs, and I think about it all the time. I love Way Over There Smurf.
If you go watch, first of all, Rihanna is Smurfette. If you go watch that wonderful, wonderful film, that is like a joke in the first 10 minutes of the movie that me and Jamie immediately clocked us. This is the best thing that's going to happen this entire time. Okay, sick. You know, but that's not happening in this. It's fun and buoyant. And I know we'll get to it later. There's something about I really respect about letting an older woman actress be really silly and just really let loose and be ridiculous. And both Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee get to just absolutely be comedic forces for most of this. And I was like, you just don't get to see this. Like, it's usually you have to be really pretty and staid, and you're like the, you know, consistent straight element to whatever zaniness that the men are getting into. And like, that's Mark Harmon and Manny Jacinto this entire movie. They're like, those crazy girls, we love them.
For real, that like Mark Harmon embodies that so perfectly in this movie. I'm just like, you know, I don't think I'm the one who has to help her through this one. Like, you know, he doesn't even know that this switch has happened. He doesn't even know what happened the first time. But he's like, I've seen them act crazy before. It's gonna be okay.
I thought for sure while he was talking to Tess in Lily's body that he was gonna say, I know what happened that time, and I know it's happening again. Like, I really thought I didn't need it. It wouldn't have made much of a difference, but I thought for sure that he was about to be like, I know that sometimes the women in this family swap bodies, and I'm okay with it.
I don't want to forget about it, so I want to bring up my silly theory that I thought as I was watching this movie, even though it's kind of, you know, not the point we are at the rundown, but who cares? And when they were questing to find Chad Michael Murray, when Harper and Lily were like going to find him and be like, this must be my mom's former love, I thought for sure that he was gonna be her dad. I thought that he was gonna be Harper's dad, and that was kind of my thought process until they got there. But you know, segueing, he works at the record store. He's got a little record shop. My favorite part of this movie is the music. I am so happy they brought Pink Slip back. I am so happy they reunited that band. That song is such a banger. It is. I've been listening to it for the last 2 weeks, various versions, the old version, the new version. I love this song. And the other part that just absolutely skyrocketed my interest in this movie is it quite heavily features my favorite band, and that's the Beaches. Canadian gems. They are absolutely incredible. They skipped my city in their next tour, so I'm not super happy about that, but I just saw them last year, so it's not that big of a deal as long as they start coming back again. But they're incredible. And not only are they the credit song for The Ultimate, they redid the new version of The Ultimate that kind of changes up the words and makes it not about the guy and about the mom and a daughter. But it's them in the end credit song for The Ultimate. But they're also, when they go in for Anna's bachelorette party, one of their newer songs, Last Girls at the Party, is playing in the bar as well. So shout out to the Beaches. The music was one of my favorite parts of this movie. Rachel, I'll throw it to you. Did listening to Pink Slip Take Me Away raise your arm hairs and give you goosebumps like it did me?
Yes, that's when I cried. Because the thing that made me cry about Pink Slip singing Take Me Away was that the audience that they were singing it for were also singing the song. So it made me really emotional that like it wasn't just millennials, like in universe, people knew Take Me Away. And I was like, oh my God, they did it. And it was just like the weirdest, like emotional reaction to something, because it was like, that is one of those songs that just like unlocks a millennial thing in my brain where every time I hear it, I remember all the words. I won't have heard it for like 15, 20 years, but it just like unlocks and I can sing the entire thing beginning to end. And like to hear in universe people doing that just made me very, very happy, because I'm like, we're all seeing it happen with Oasis, where a bunch of millennials are like, get the fuck out of my concert. Like, I have to buy these tickets and hear Oasis sing a song I've heard a million times. And it's that kind of feeling where it's like, that happened with Pink Slip in this one moment. And I think it's really cool.
A fun segue off that is what an LA movie this is. And they've said it, like, this movie is a love letter to LA, which is really awesome. And a fun thing to kind of tie it in with my podcast that I do, a little Lido plug, is that Ella, when Ella's talking about Pink Slip, she's like, oh, I just saw them at the Troubadour. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to see Jed Whedon, showrunner of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s band, play at the Troubadour. They're having like a reunion show, and I just think it's like, oh hell yeah, I know that place. And like so many of them riding around. You love a love letter to your city. It's even if it's like a basic ass city, like we live in New York and LA, but still, you know.
Well, to that point, it was so funny because Lily, the restaurant, is the restaurant above the Line Hotel, which I have stayed at for like an event I got flown out for. I was like, I think that's the restaurant that's by the pool where I stayed at that hotel. Like, and it's even like that is fun because it's like, yeah, it's not the obvious LA things or that what people who live in LA would notice, because it's like, it's a hotel. Who's going to know that other than someone who's flying in and going to it? But I thought it was fun to be like, oh, that's like a weird hotel downtown that like nobody else probably has gone to. So they rented it out for this movie.
Aaron, what do you think of I forgot what I was going to say. Aaron, what do you think about the return of Pink Slip in the movie and the music in this one?
I mean, it's so funny because like this is like one of my favorite things is like going into something and not being like the core fandom and seeing how charged up, how hyped people get for the stuff, and then through that excitement, understanding why something resonates the way it has been, why this particular project had to be born, and like the performance with Pink Slip, and then the final bit of the performance with getting her guitar back and like standing up there was like, oh yes, okay, it's all locking into place. Everything makes total sense about this now. Also, sometimes you plan things and they end up going very well on almost like happenstance. And I will say this too: the secret weapon that this movie has that no one could have really thought of when they were really writing it is that the Y2K thing took hold like wildfire in the interim between writing this movie, filming it, and it coming out. So the fact that this like 2000s banger does not sound out of place with what will be on the radio now also helps it function in a way that I'm like, sometimes you just roll seven, like you roll sixes and we just move on. We just go ahead and do what we got to do, you know? So I love that. That was really, really cool. Also, Jamie, 100% the interior of the location when they're performing is totally the El Cap inside, right? It's gotta be.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I didn't even.
They
I don't
used another venue in the city for the outside, but I'm like, is this where we're sitting right now?
Oh, weird. I don't know. We have to look that up because I don't know.
I think I have suspicion. I'm like, when we're trying to save money on filming, let's use the inside of the theater we already
own.
Yeah.
Possible. Another thing when we saw it that Aaron pointed out, one thing that they nailed accidentally, like with the zeitgeist, was like a really funny Coldplay joke.
Oh yeah.
The whole time I saw it, the audience roared, and they're only laughing because of the recent Coldplay shit. Like
Yeah.
it just like they really struck gold making that joke in this month in this time.
Imagine writing that joke 2 to 3 years ago and be like, this will get some sort of like little chuckle, and then having it come out the weekend after all that happened.
Well, you know, whoever wrote that joke was like, yes,
Yeah, that's what Aaron said.
did it.
I remember when I just recently rewatched Freaky Friday, the part that body swapping, I could buy into it. That's real. Like, sure, I'm in. I'm bought in.
Real?
The part that was that's real. The part that
I know
was
what you're gonna say
unrealistic to me was, imagine having a 15-year-old who is in a band that can make music that fucking good, and you're not like, I will do whatever I can to support you because you're musical gods.
That's that generation of parents, unfortunately.
For sure.
Not what I thought you were gonna say.
That's very true. And like at the time, the whole like, oh, what you're doing is noise. Felt very relatable to being, a teen of that generation. But damn, I'm rewatching that and thinking like, wait, they're how old? This music is how good? They need to like, if I'm a record label, I'm finding them immediately.
I thought you were going to bring up the very poor line in Freaky Friday when Anna doesn't know who Stevie Nicks is. And I'm sorry, but when you're like into rock music and you're that age, you know who Stevie Nicks is. Like, I wasn't big into music and I'm her age, and I knew who Stevie Nicks was. Like, that line really bothers me.
Yeah, it would make more sense now in this movie with Harper, because Harper is kind of like, my mom's in music, I'm not, like I surf. Like that would make more sense to me than this. Which, to that point, I also do like that they still made it like a rebellious act with Harper and Anna's relationship, but it is one that is like, well, it's so different from wanting to play rock music with your friends. Like, you just want to go surf. It's a different energy. I understand that dynamic and why those two don't fight like Anna and Tess, but they do have their like headbutting moments because it's like, well, I don't know how to talk to her. And I like that little touch, but like to the Stevie Nicks point, it's like, it would make more sense in this movie with Harper trying to talk to Anna.
That's such a great point too, because it hammers home how ridiculous it is when there are so many like conversations that it's like, okay, so what do you think about this band? And what do you think about this band? Oh, get a bass player. Am I right? Like you're portraying this character as like a musical historian that is so into it. Of course she's going to know about who Stevie Nicks is. Like, at least if you're going to do that joke, have it be somebody totally and ridiculously outside her genre. You know what I mean? Like, have it be someone like, alas, we don't have to harp on that for too long, but that was a really good point. Next part I want to talk about is Lindsay Lohan's performance, because I had kind of forgotten growing up with her. I think like we're pretty much the same age, close to it. I didn't know as a kid watching her performances how ridiculously good of an actor she has been her entire life. And, I feel like there's a lot of child stars that are like, oh, they were so cute and perfect for this role, so they became a star. Or they were with Disney and they had their parents had connections and so they became a child star. Lindsay Lohan has just always been a really fucking good actor. And I realized that rewatching the original Freaky Friday, when there are just like so many lines that are just ridiculous, she just delivers the shit out of them. Like, just absolutely crushes it. And she still got it. She still got it. Aaron, I'll throw it to you first. What did you think of the kind of bringing Lindsay Lohan back into the spotlight performance from her here?
I mean, this is so interesting, right? Like, I coming from like sports, like there's a nascent thing of young prodigy is like naturally good at this thing. So somehow that like cheapens it somehow because you didn't have to do as much work. But then some people are just good. Some people are just got it. Some people just know. And it feels like that's a little bit of her. Also, I feel like she's on like a similar like Halle Berry ass like trajectory where people dunked on a lot of the stuff that she made when she was younger, and then now like 10 years from now, look out, you're gonna have people reappraising all sorts of stuff and being like, actually this was just misogyny, it was actually good.
Everyone secretly loved I Know Who Killed Me. That's should have won some Oscars.
Is it watch when it happens, we're all gonna be sitting here like, exactly. Go ahead.
I think a big part of what makes this movie so great is just seeing Lindsay Lohan thrive. Like, truly, like the Lohanessence, as they're calling it, is magical and lovely. And like, we did grow up with her. Like, The Parent Trap is one of my favorite movies of all time. Mm-hmm. I love that movie very much. I was actually on our friend BJ's podcast. This ends at prom to talk about The Parent Trap once. And just seeing like how well she's doing, and like it's a little sad. Like, she has to live in Dubai to avoid paparazzi. Like, that's so crazy. Sad. Like, that's crazy, but she seems really happy and she's thriving and she's so good in this movie. And I hope this opens doors for her. I'm really mad that Rian Johnson didn't cast her in the new When I Have That movie, because I think it came down to her and Mila Kunis, and like that would have been awesome if we could have gone from this to that. But I just really hope that, like, Disney has always been the space where she thrived the most. But I would love to see other studios and other directors and everything take a chance on her, because she's great. She's so good. And I'm so happy for her. I'm so happy. She's happy.
I couldn't agree more. I was thinking about that exact same interview when she was talking about that, and like, just to get away from the paparazzi, and for not just for her, but for her kid. And like, that sucks, but like, and it's so crazy thinking back to the time of like, we obviously live in an age now with aggressive social media, how everybody knows everything about everyone. But there was a time where, the Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, like the aggressive paparazzi in the early 2000s on a select group of young women were just like so ridiculously targeted and aggressive. And it wasn't that bad for everyone, I don't think, but for a select group of young women, it was like, just, I would have to imagine hell, like I still imagine like the Taylor Swifts and things like that have that pretty aggressively, and anyone who's a celebrity, they're going to get recognized all the time. But I feel like, I could be totally ignorant and off base, but I feel like that early 2000s time of just like aggressive paparazziing was, and just tabloid news was, social media has kind of taken away some type of, I don't know what I'm even trying to say. I'm gonna not dig myself into a hole. Rachel, what did you think about her performance?
Oh, I liked it a lot. As a lifelong raspy voice girl, I always got the Lindsay Lohan comparisons when I was little, and I loved it because it was like, yeah, sure, I'll be Lindsay Lohan just because we have raspy voices. That's fine. But like, I love that she's back. It makes me very happy. I was surprised. I mean, I shouldn't have been, because I love Julia Butters, but it was like, there were moments where her and Sophia is the girl who plays Lily, I think is her name. Yeah. The two of them at one point are out acting both Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And I was like, oh, dang. Like, I was like, those girls are also so incredibly good in this movie, that two actors who are as good as Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are like being outshined by how good these two younger girls are. And I think that's a testament to the movie as a whole, that like that's how good everyone's performances are. That like I was like, Jesus, I didn't think that was possible, and yet those two did it. And so yeah, I just like seeing Lindsay Lohan. I liked that Irish movie just because I was like, she's back, great. I watched the Irish I'm in an alternate reality movie. And obviously I like Freakier Friday a lot because I love Freaky Friday, but I think I would like it even if I didn't like that movie as much as I do.
Rachel, you need to make a letterboxed list of weird times that Lindsay Lohan ends up in an alternate reality.
Yeah, that is true. It happened twice, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
There you go.
I had a nickel for every time Lindsay Lohan was in an alternate reality.
I just got the urge to rewatch Just My Luck. That just hit me right now, and it made me really want to watch Just My Luck.
Oh, it's not good. I rewatched it recently. It's a bad movie. I'm sorry, it's bad. I saw it in theaters and I watched it like 2 years ago, and I didn't like it when I was 16, and I don't like it now. And listen, they can't all be winners. Sorry, Chris Pine girlies, it's not good.
I'm the Chris Pine girl.
Yeah,
Listen, every single time I walk by the Paramount Theater, which is attached to the Hard Rock, I think about Just My Luck. I'm like, that's where they did it.
I don't think it's probably been 10, 15 years since I've seen that movie. It's been a long time.
Which is not really a body swap, but close because they're swapping luck. So
Yeah.
it is also funny that she was like, "Let me swap luck with people."
And she needs to be playing like two totally different people within one movie. Otherwise, she's not interested. Don't cast me unless I'm playing multiple versions of myself within this movie. But I agree with you.
I know who killed me. She's playing twins.
Rachel, I agree with you 100% with Sophia Hammonds as Lily and Julia Butters as Harper. I was shocked how good their performances were. I Googled their ages right after because typically anytime I see a teenager in a movie that's like giving a great performance, I feel like, well, that's a 30-year-old.
Oh, no, I knew my girl Julia was a teenager because I remembered Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where she is talking to Leonardo DiCaprio about how good of a performance he just gave. And it is the funniest thing I've ever seen in a movie. And she was like 10 or whatever when she did it. And I was like, that's an icon. That's
my most watched movie of the last 5 years. It's, if you go on my letterbox, I watch that movie like every few months. And it is when they were on set, Leo compared Julia to a young Meryl Streep and like I cannot wait to see what Julia Butters continues to do because she is like next level and she has been since she in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, her character is 8. I don't know if that's how old she actually was, but like it is pretty amazing.
I'm gonna do some math. All right,
for real. Like I was shocked when I saw her in this because I didn't clock that those two were the same person. And so that when I was watching it felt like an introduction to this actor, and I was like, okay, this has got to be a 23-year-old, right? Like just based on the skill, the talent of the craft. And then I saw afterward, and I was like, damn, she's going to be doing big things because this was very, very impressive how she was able to channel the Lindsay Lohan character just into herself so well. Aaron, what did you think of the performances of the kiddos in this one?
It's always interesting because I was laughing like it took 33 minutes into this podcast before Rachel mentioned parents, and then at 47:24, Jamie mentioned Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I didn't bring it up.
I also didn't bring up that Anna's dad dead. Would have done that.
48:55 for those of you keeping track at home. For all my betters. But the young actresses equip themselves so well. I mean, like it's very funny to be like, okay, so you guys have to be not just older actors, but like these two actors that are so like established in what they do. I say that this is probably the most interesting like younger actor pretending to be an older actor thing I've seen since Bill and Ted, the last Bill and Ted movie, where they like acted like Alex Winter and Keanu. Huh?
Face the Music.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good. The same sort of thing going on here, where I'm like, oh, you went like you watched some of them, and then let the silliness take you where you couldn't quite get the bits, which is all this really demands of them. The bits with the freaking grape juice, hysterical. I was ashamed it popped me in the theater. I was like, oh, that's so funny. Like, I don't understand why this is so funny to me. Like, them having this like tete-a-tete with like these older adults, like in let's be real, Zoomer cosplay. It was very funny. They're very, very, very well. And then like also the emotional things of like the story too, they did a pretty good job with, I will say. The mirror scene that's a riff on the first movie is like art, is so funny. The way that it goes between the two of them, like, is so like hilarious. I'm sure that they had to have like a lot of conversations, or at least some conversations about, all right, so if I was playing you, what do you think we should do with this? Like what? And I think that went both ways, which is really respectful and nice. Also, I think I read a review of this where they said this movie cleverly steers away from some things that a meaner movie would do, because you have actresses of color like portraying this older white woman and then her portraying in the back. And it just kind of definitely avoids all that ickiness in ways that's really smart and interesting, where it never really like is a thing, because it's like, I think I came out of it and said, like, Jamie's been trying to hunt down my secret letterbox opinions. I was like, it's the sisterhood is what matters more than anything else. And if there was another one of these, the highest compliment I give is, I would not be opposed if there was a smaller supporting role for Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis, and you could trust Julia and them to like carry one of these in the future, with the adults playing an even smaller role. I don't know how many House of Mirrors Freaky Fridays we got in us. I think we're almost at the limit, but it could. I wouldn't be opposed off of their performances alone.
I don't think we need Freakiest Friday for another 22 years.
Freakiest Friday.
Lindsay Lohan is the grandma that time around. But I will say, to your point, Aaron, I was like shocked by Jamie's namesake crawling around on that record floor. I was like,
oh my god,
damn, Jamie Lee Curtis. I was like, if my mother had to crawl around on a floor like that, she'd be like, I'm out, actually, just leave me down here. So I was like, oh, she's just like legitimately on her hands and knees crawling around on the floor, and was like fine with it. And I was like, okay, girl.
A mutual critic that I know, who's like a little older than us, she's probably, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s. She hated this movie, and she thought it was offensive how they were just making fun of women's bodies and like you're old and you're useless. And I'm like, that's not what the movie's doing at all. Jamie Lee Curtis is in her 70s. Like, her knees, my knees crack when I stand up, and I'm 35. Like, I love the way Jamie Lee Curtis like made fun of her age, because, like, yeah, I'm sorry, but if you are a 15-year-old in a 70-year-old's body, you're gonna like, it's going to be shocking. Like, it's not, to be offended by that is crazy, because it is what happens. And like, even in the last movie, she calls herself the Crypt Keeper, and then she's like 40. Like, it's funny. Laugh a little. Have some humor in your life.
I taking care of my grandmother who has Alzheimer's. The thing in the drugstore aisle was so real and so funny, and that's sort of way you have to get through that kind of stuff, where Mark Harmon's just like, okay, we're just doing this.
He was like, we needed this.
Like, huh?
He was like, we needed this.
This.
He was like, just this.
That was a really good scene as well. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I felt like in a comedic movie, was the ultimate comedic relief throughout. Like, that was just essentially her role, and you could tell she was having a lot of fun with it. There was a lot of interviews in the press tour where she kind of seemed very like actively saying like, I have the easiest role in this movie. I have lived a long life. I have been a kid doing dumb things. I've been an adult doing dumb things. So just going in and acting like a kid in an exaggerated form and just being silly, that's the easiest thing I could possibly be doing. They're the ones who have the tough role of, pretending they're having to have already lived experiences that they as actors have never lived before. And I thought that was a really good point. And it came out on screen to me, like, she just seemed like she was having an absolute blast. And somebody else who seemed like he was having an absolute blast was Manny Jacinto. And if I were to pick like one singular highlight of this movie, Jamie, it would be his dance scene.
Oh, we love a Swayze. We love a Swayze tribute. That was fantastic.
I appreciated Brandon's question in the press tour of asking like what is more difficult, figuring out how to twirl a lightsaber like he has had to do, or that specific dance routine. And if you want to know what he said, go check out Brandon's interview on his YouTube channel. Oh yeah, watch Brandon's mom handle the interview. Aaron, what did you think of Manny's performance in this one as kind of the newcomer, right? Because we've seen Ryan and we've seen Jake, but this was brand new.
Okay, so like it's super interesting, right? Because like we're talking about like the Lohan Renaissance, but like Manny Jacinto's extended day in the sun continues. Like it's very, very funny. I cannot believe as someone who watched and like still makes jokes about like Blake Bortles and crap that this man is getting to do all this different stuff. Bortles. He is so perfect for a role like this too. And usually actors at Descent don't get to do this very often, which made this like, I'm like, this thing is scoring all the points on like getting people in their spots where they should be allowed to do this, but they for some reason haven't. So let's just do it now. I mean, also hilariously, the dance routine stuff, I was like, how hard do you think his agent fought to be like, no. All of this stays in. All of it. I'm going to use this for stuff later. This is going to pay dividends later. So he's super charming. It's very funny because I think I saw a review where people were like, I don't know if like they have good chemistry. And I'm like two hot people don't get together just on the basis of just being hot alone every day on Al Gore's internet. You need to stop. What are you talking about?
He's so hot. He's just so hot. And never forget that he's married to an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actor. Diane Jones, fun fact. No, like I want to also mention that he crushed that accent. Like, oh yeah, he's not British, and he came in there and he out-Brited even Lindsay Lohan, a classic British actor.
Rachel, what do you think of his performance in this movie? The dance, the handsomeness, all of it.
Well, here's the thing. Aaron didn't clock in earlier with the timestamp, but to bring up Top Gun Maverick again, maybe the secret to these sequels is just Manny Jacinto, just like putting him in a sequel that's like decades later.
Because like, renew the acolyte.
Yeah, well, yes. But like I love him, as Aaron said. I love The Good Place, so I love Jason Mendoza. And like I still do the Bortles. Like anytime I see him, I'm just like Bortles. And so to see him shine in something like this, which is so different from The Acolyte and is so different from Jason, and like he was in a rom-com, but it was like he was not the romantic lead. It was Charlie Day. And so to see him be the romantic lead in this movie was just really nice. And I like that it was a reasonable adult romance. Like it wasn't, the focal point of the whole movie. Like, even though it was their wedding, it was like these two people met, fell in love, and they were getting married, but their kids were what was important in the situation. And I like how the movie kind of dealt with all of that. And yeah, I do love anytime a man has to do the dirty dancing dance. I'm like, yeah, and more men should do it. We should force men to learn how to do the dirty dancing dance.
If I looked that good doing it, you don't think I wouldn't have already learned it?
Listen, anyone can look good with the lift. If people can do the lift part of it, that's all anyone needs to do.
I was at a wedding recently and I was dancing with Tony's friend Shane, and that song came on. And like we did a bit where I ran and stopped. And he's like, "Why didn't you do it?" I'm like, "We would both break something. If I tried to leap in, first of all, you're wasted. You drop me." But like I'm very like bottom heavy. Like I'm load bearing. And like there's no way I could smoothly leap into a human being's arms. It's just we'd all have our talent. Like, I can do the Swayze part. I can't catch somebody though.
I'm picturing you like a seesaw, and it's like you get up, but then it just goes back in the other direction.
It's true.
Not nearly as majestic.
Oh, I would love it. Just because we have the time.
When Lindsay Lohan runs out, like when she's like run and she just runs away. That's one of my
Huge
favorite
pop.
bits.
Yeah, that was perfect.
There's some really good jokes in that movie. Oh,
Next person, and I was originally going to throw this just from, swapping the order with every question. I was going to throw this to Rachel first, but based on how she looked at me when I said that I wanted to be Lucas Scott as a kid, I'm not going to throw it to Rachel first. And I'm going to throw it to Aaron first. And let's talk about Chad Michael Murray. I thought he was so, like, his role in this movie was funny because for a large portion, he was like the charming voice of reason, except for when Tess got involved. Anytime he saw Tess, he was like, snap back into I'm a crazy idiot teenager mode. This is my woman. This is my everything. I will drop everything to be at her whim. What did you think of Chad Michael Murray's return as Jake in this movie?
It's so funny because when he got cast, we were like, wait, what? Like, what is he gonna do? Like, if they're not together and that's not what's going on, like, what do you do with Chad Michael Murray? Like, what happens? And I think it's pretty darn good. I think it's pretty funny. Like I said, him being Silver Lake dad, hilarious, no notes, hysterical. I'm like, there are 4 or 5 of them men rolling around Los Angeles right now, like down the street. I don't know. Well, maybe if Jamie Lee Curtis like asked them to borrow their very, very prized muscle car, maybe he would give it all. Maybe he would risk it all for Jamie Lee Curtis. That's it's not even that played for laughs. Like there's one really funny joke at the end where it's played for laughs, but the rest of it he just kind of reverts to a goofy teenage boy that doesn't know, who listened to Welcome Interstate Managers too much. Like God bless, who among us? Fountain Wayne, dear God.
I saw a deleted scene today where he's singing "Baby One More Time" like down the street. Like then I was like, why didn't put it in the movie? But why wouldn't you put it in the bloopers at the end? Like show us. Yeah. Why wouldn't you show us that? Come on.
It's so bizarre, but yeah, he's like very funny. The thing where he whispers like during the dinner, hysterical. I think it's funny too because like during all of this time, like TJ, I'm sure there were other young men who looked at Homeboy like, yeah, I want to do that, frosted tips and all. I want to do that's me. He gets played as this like romantic cool guy, like a love interest, and he really gets to be like really silly in this as well, which is like delightful. Like having to sit there, I don't know how he didn't break with Lindsay Lohan just doing ridiculous poses in front of you for like 10 minutes. God bless. So I know when Jamie, can I say this? Like when they first did like the set reveals of his hair, there was a CB Girlies Slack summit to discuss his hair in the first look. And he rose above some of that. And that's all I can really ask for. It was like me, you, Nicole, Jenna, I want to say. All of us like, and maybe Haley too. Like,
and I'll say I was not like, I'm like Rachel. I was never really a Chad Michael Murray girly. Like he was not anywhere near my list of crushes, but I think he looks incredible in this movie. And the hair is a lot to do with it. And I want to say real quick, because I have to run and get my computer charger because my computer's about to die, is that there are a lot of nostalgic movies where if they would have not kept the couple together, people would have been mad, and not a single person is mad that Lindsay Lohan and Chad Michael Murray aren't still together. And I think that was so smart. I'm glad he's not Harper's dad, and he's just like he's just there. And I think
he's still in love with Tess, and that's all I wanted was him to still be in love with Tess, and that's what they did. The ending shot where he is like with a woman who is just dressed like Jamie Lee Curtis from the first Freaky Friday is the funniest thing. Also, I'm so sorry. While Aaron was talking, I saw Carlos's comment about Dirty Dancing, and my face was just full shock midway through Aaron talking about.
I didn't know what you made the face for, but I'm like, I'm gonna keep going.
Carlos's comment about Dirty Dancing took me out, so I was just like. But yes, sorry. Anyways, yeah, I think the concern with Jake was not necessarily him and Anna being together. It was, is he still gonna have the hots for Tess? And boy, does he.
He
down
does.
bad.
He does, and I agree with the hair. This is a dude that is like, he's been famously handsome with famously horrific hair. Freaky Friday and One Tree Hill season 4. It's like the most famous season. He's in his senior year of high school. He's he's returning to the basketball court. It's a huge deal. And he just looks horrible.
Oh, his hair is also bad in a Cinderella story. I just had to confirm. It just took some scissors and cut his bangs up. And I just wanted to confirm that his hair also looked bad in that movie, and it does.
I love and appreciate that he's basically just like doing a Canadian TV show, living in Canada, doing some Hallmark movies every now and then. Like, he's just cashing a check and living the life he wants to live, and I appreciate that.
When he showed up on Riverdale as a dad, it really like took me out. It made me realize, oh my God, the teen guys from my youth are now the teen TV show dads. That really struck me. But I ran away when you guys were talking about the girl at the end that he's dating. I just, in case you missed it, they credit her as Bess, which I think
Bess.
Yeah. They also, to find that dress again, it wasn't archived. A lot of the Disney archives a lot of stuff. They had to like really search to re-find that dress, and it was so small they had to like alter it like crazy. And it, but it looks good, so they did a good job.
It was so funny because as we left, my one friend was like, "Oh, so he just like likes older women." I was like, "No, that girl was just straight up dressed like Jamie Lee Curtis from the first movie. He's just obsessed with that." And I like that Mark Harmon is like continues to think it's harmless. Like, that is also one of my favorite things about it is like he is never like, should I be worried? Especially now that it's an adult man. He's just like, yeah, that's that guy. That's like what he does. He's obsessed with my wife.
Oh yeah, it's the guy that's obsessed with my wife. Jamie, lead us through any of your favorite side performance supporting roles in this one or cameos. We had Madam Jen playing a big role in the swap for this one, which I thought was a great call to kind of move away from the racial insensitivities that they had in the first movie with the swapping. And I thought that was a fun way that they did it, of like when the character comes back and she's like, why would I give a damn about your problems when I have a booming restaurant business? And that was essentially just her cameo. I thought that was a lot of fun. But between, we have Madam Jen, we have her little brother, Harry, popped back in. And if I'm not mistaken, he's not like avidly performing anymore. He's an acting coach now. So I thought that was fun that he came back for this one. And then my favorite was Canadian Queen, Maitreyi, playing such a prominent role as Ella in this one. It's still my hope to see her and Iman Vellani cosplaying and run into them at a convention in Canada, because they just do that all the time. They show up not as celebrity guests, as just ticket buyers in cosplay, and so I would love to run into them at a con here. But alas, some of your favorite parts.
I do want to say, in terms of like the aunties, I really am glad that they brought them back. Because even though that was, people didn't like, the fortune cookie and everything, which is totally understandable. I interviewed Rosalind Chow right when the new movie was announced. So she wasn't announced to be in it yet. And I asked her, like, are you going to be in the movie? And she goes, oh, I hope so. I love doing it. And she told me, she goes, it made me so sad that people were upset by my performance, because I was just doing my father. I was doing a tribute to my dad. That was like an impression of my dad, and people saw it this certain way. And so I'm really glad that not only did they get an opportunity to come back, they did it in the perfect way. And now she doesn't really have an accent, because she has been here for 22 years. And she just doesn't really have an accent anymore. And I think that was clever. I'm just glad that they didn't erase them, because it's not their fault that like they deserve to be back. And I'm really glad I thought it was handled perfectly. I will say, Elaine Hendricks being in this movie was what got me, because I loved The Parent Trap so much. Erin and I happened to bump into her in the lobby afterwards, and I told her, I was like, seeing you and Lindsay Lohan on screen together again made me cry. And she was there with Lisa Ann Walter, like they were dates, and and they're like BFFs, and just seeing them together there, and was really something. Like as a Parent Trap fan, that's what made me really happy.
Another Easter egg that apparently was a happy accident was that Anna's wedding was on October 3rd.
That wasn't on purpose. I can't believe that wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up because I was waiting the entire movie for the third one, because I was like, okay, October 3rd. Okay, we have Meredith Blake. Like, what's going to be the third Lindsay Lohan reference in this movie? And then there is not one. And I was like,
Chris
what happened?
Pine
And then I
comes
came
in.
out of the movie and it was like October 3rd was an accident. I was like, oh, okay, so it was just supposed to be the Parent Trap reference, and then you guys didn't pay attention to the joke about Mean Girls that is constantly popping up every single year.
And how about for you? Were there any of the supporting performances or Easter eggs that stuck out as your favorites?
Oh man. I guess like the funniest part about like the aging process, I guess for me and Ariel this weekend went to a shopping mall, and Ariel hasn't been to a shopping mall in like 6 months, 7 months. And I'm constantly talking about how unnerving it is that Y2K fashion is such a big thing among youth, because it's literally just the stuff that was advertised on like the N when I was like 12. And it's hard to get past like, oh boy, baby doll tees and puffy ink shirts, and boys wearing short sleeve shirts over long sleeve shirts, under short sleeve shirts. Like, it's bizarre to see all of the costuming. If you had told me they just kept the wardrobe from the high schoolers from the 2003 one and just put the kids in it now, I would believe you. And also, he works in this record shop in, I would assume, is like either Silver Lake or Lower Hollywood, and all of the vintage records are crap that either I remember coming out or weren't that old, we're younger, is a hilarious pop. Like, some girlie being like, oh yeah, this is vintage, and it's in the zone, is unnerving and hilarious at the same time. Like, I was like, oh yeah, for like a teen now, that's totally like, oh god, look at this old record. And I'm like, osteoporosis.
I can't believe we're wearing bucket hats again. It like depresses me. Like, I hated that era of fashion so much. Like, because we were like that was middle school era. Like, and like, every time I see it now, I'm like, well, how did we end up here again?
Oh, you not listening to New Radicals, Jamie? Come on. Rachel.
Jamiroquai.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Get in the spirit. You want to stand on some escalators with me?
Rachel, how about you? Any performances we haven't talked about or Easter eggs that stick out?
The Easter eggs were my favorite part. I like the minute I clocked the October 3rd and then was like, and there's like that I loved. I love my Never Have I Ever girly. I just like seeing Pink Slip, even though they were in it briefly. And then, you know, we already shouted out Mark Harmon, MVP all the time, killing it. But yeah, but Vanessa Bayer is so funny in this movie. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Ash, who I think has been on your show, TJ, but Ash Crossan did her interview with Vanessa Bayer, and Vanessa Bayer is in character. And it is very funny watching the two of them interact, because she's like, your favorite movie is Star Wars. And like the two of them going back and forth was pretty great.
Can I do an extemporaneous thing too that I love as Easter egg? If you've been paying attention to the freaking rollout, the press tour for this, Andrew, how do you say this? I think his last name, Mukamal, like that did like the Barbie press tour with Margot, is handling it for Lindsay Lohan, and she's just doing iconic Lindsay Lohan looks, but slightly updated, and it has been magic. I was like,
the purple dress.
The purple dress.
The purple like night slip dress. And the minute I saw the purple dress, I was like, that looks like the purple night slip dress. Like, I remembered that dress.
Good for her. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. What a joy.
Before we get out of here, official ratings out of 10 for Freakier Friday. I remember the first few months of this year just being like, wow, kind of 2024 and the start of 2025, not so great for movies. TV, incredible. Top tier. Wonderful. Movies, not so much. And then these, basically ever since Sinners came out, just been proving me wrong with literally every movie that I go see in theaters. Rachel, I'll start with you. Out of 10, what are you, where would you put Freakier Friday?
Because I'm me, I'm just going to give it a 10. Because I had a grand old little time in that theater. and I reverted back to being a teenager. And in movies like this, that's what I want. I want to revert back to being a teenager. And so it was great. TJ, you are
How
me.
I think it's like a 9. Like I said, this is my 3rd favorite movie. You could have asked me so many times at the beginning of this year what would be my top 5 movies, and I would not have said Freakier Friday. Being surprised is the best. Is the freaking best. Just so excited, so happy. Like also the vibes walking out of the theater too, not even just as a screening, just like whatever. I'm like, I feel the way walking out of this theater, the way that like Jenna Anderson felt walking out of Superman.
Like, also, what? Aaron and I had an amazing photo shoot. Go look on our Instagrams because we've got some incredible photos.
The most I was mad about were the photos because I was like, damn, they look good.
Yeah, we look incredible, actually. It's the best I've ever looked is in this photo shoot with there.
I'm shook. I was shook when we got the pictures back. Jamie's like, we're not taking any more photos. We're done here.
Yeah, like we
did it.
Jamie, give me your rating out of 10.
On Letterboxd, the first time I watched it, I gave it a 4. The second time I bumped it to a 4.5. So I guess math-wise, that would give it a 9.
I like it. I will go 8.5 out of 10. Let us know what you thought about Freakier Friday. Hit us up on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the future shows we have coming. Of course, the Comic Corner, which has been popping, by the way. Shout out to Damon AF and Fat Thor and the Comic Corner crew. That show has been growing exponentially each week, as it deserves to, because they do such a great job talking about comics every Thursday morning. Make sure you check it out. And next week, we will also have our first breakdown for Peacemaker Season 2. We'll be talking about Episode 1 after it airs, so make sure you check that out as well. Rachel, where can the people find you on socials? Where can they find your content? And do you have anything particularly exciting over at the MarySue you want to let us tell the people about? Any upcoming interviews, things like that?
Well, you can follow me at Rachel Leishman. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Rachel_Leishman. Please do. I want more followers there. The MarySue, I'm going to have a lot of Peacemaker stuff coming out in the next 2 weeks. So you can check out all of my stuff for Peacemaker. And you can check out Jamie's interviews that she did for me at San Diego Comic-Con. And Jenna did some as well. And yeah, I think that's what I got. I don't know.
Aaron,
that's what I got.
Aaron, where can the people find you on socials? And also, I did have a question I wanted to ask you, and that if I wanted to know what I could watch for free on my television, where could I find a resource to help me out with that?
You've come to the right place. It's at Some Lake Corner on all platforms. It's at How to Watch Free TV on Instagram and on Blue Sky now randomly, and on it's like Free Space Pod on Facebook. We give out free TV recommendations every week. You can go listen to my podcast with the other half of the Jirak household, where he walked me through a bunch of fun streaming movies. Don't dare say he loves television. He doesn't like that. howtowatchfree.tv for our newsletter. You can catch me with this goofball over here over at Phase Hero, phasehero.com. We love doing this. Me and Jamie tomorrow are going to a cat cafe to talk about Night of the Living Cat over on Crunchyroll, and there's going to be cats roaming around while we do the interview. So you're going to get ridiculous kitten content out of the two of us talking about this weird zombie anime. So that's there. Jamie, you still got that mug? Show them the mug. Go buy some merch. howtowatchfree.tv. Go watch you some stuff for free. Look at that. Look at her. She's like Vanna White. God dang it.
You could do the thing that the kids do, but you can't find it.
Listen here, I found a dupe for free TV. Thank you, TJ.
I love it. Make sure you check that out. And Jamie, where can the people find you on socials? and tell us about your multiple podcasts.
Wow, yeah. Well, if you're jealous about the cat cafe, you can look at some cats right here. They're sleeping, so you're welcome. Yeah, we're gonna have fun tomorrow at the cat cafe. You can, Phase Hero, that business. Love in the Time of Hydra is the podcast I do with Tony, who Aaron called the other half of the Jirak household. We are this month just going through some old Dollhouse episodes, but then early September we're finally Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3. We're finally getting there. It's crazy that we're already to season 3. Follow me on the businesses at Jamie Jirak, Instagram, Letterboxd. I'm actually working on an article for Slash Film. I'm doing a list of the best Disney sequels, but Disney proper, no Pixar, no Star Wars, none of that stuff. And I will tell you, Freakier Friday, I put it in the number 2 spot. So keep an eye out to see what beat it. That'll be dropping on Slash Film probably next week. I don't know. Keep an eye out.
Follow all these wonderful people so you don't miss out on their content. Like I said, we got great stuff coming here as well. So hit the like button, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts, hit that notification bell. We got Peacemaker coming next week. We got the Comic Corner drop in every week. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. On behalf of myself, Rachel, Jamie, and Aaron, we will see you next time.